that I'll introduce you. You'll speak for a minute or two, and I will let you know when your time is up. So you're done. You're done. Just wrap it up. You know, I'm not going to say stop, close your mouth. But and then I have questions prepared, just for that everybody will answer. What do you see as what has changed in the industry that has helped you with your particular journey? So whatever that means to each of you, and it means something different to me than it does to you. And then the second question is, what is the biggest impediment, the block, to help you use cannabis for healing? And again, that'll be different for each one of us. You know, I'm talking about seniors, totally different thing than doing therapy. Totally, yours is cancer survivor as well. Yours is TBI.
So, you're going to change maybe. Good luck. Goodbye.
I'm always doing my pap smears and stuff. So you know when you're pregnant, you go see anyway. That's when they're in check.
Yeah, surgery?
Yes, right after I had
Radiation or anything?
no, right after I had the baby. When they caught him when it was,
That's the way.
yeah, they caught him when they was like this. When I gave birth, they came and moved a little bit more. And then the doctor said, no. So he gave him a food and stuff. I was menopause and stuff.
Yeah.
Cancer I had is almost
Shit like James, can you tell me one of those bottles, please?
and I'm super healthy.
Yeah. Anything you know, your body is
Okay, we got 1 minute. Okay. Thank you all for coming. This is the panel of Healing with Cannabis. We have cancer survivors, traumatic brain injury survivor, a therapist who uses cannabis in her practice, and I'll be speaking about seniors and using it for senior health. I'm Dale Rosenfeld.
I do.
Thank you, Lo. Thanks, guys. And I'm 72. I've been using 72, right, right. And I've been using cannabis since I'm 16. I've been consuming cannabis in many forms. And I'm very aware that as I get older, there's so many people in my age bracket who are very confused. They're confused, what does CBDA versus CBD mean? They're confused as to what is THC and not CBD. There's a lot of people who are over 60 who had their brains washed and think that there's a stigma attached to cannabis use. So my goal is to help people understand what it means to use cannabis and that we're not in a Puritan society. So if I enjoy myself after consuming cannabis, that's not a bad thing. So I'd like to introduce each one. We'll start right here. So Hansel, would you please just give a minute or two of who you are and what your
Thank you.
main post is?
So my name is Hansel Aquino, and I'm an MMA fighter, cancer survivor, actor, and before my cancer journey, I grew up in a very religious, strict household, and I started wrestling at the age of 4. So I've been always in athletics and and always being steered what was a drug and what wasn't and stuff like that. And cannabis came into that with my family being so strict. So pretty much the whole time in my whole life until I got diagnosed with cancer, I was very anti-cannabis. Very, you know, I was in the DARE program, and I would watch those commercials, you know, those commercials on TV.
Right.
And I'm
Your
like, I'm not
brain
trying to be like that
fried.
person. No way. That person's all flat on the. I remember this commercial. I don't know if you guys remember that commercial where there's like a girl, and this is your brain on drugs.
Yeah.
And she's all flat on the couch. So I'm like, nah, I'm not trying to do that ever. But pretty much, yeah, I got diagnosed with the cancer. And then the doctor was the one who actually told me that it's some form of medicine that can help you. And I was still like, no, I'm not going to do that. There's no way. At that time, I was diagnosed with epithelial sarcoma. It's a really rare form of muscle cancer, and I'm the only survivor with it right now. Maybe there might be more, I don't know. But there's only been, since now, maybe 80 cases in the whole world since me. So only 80 cases, and I'm the only survivor with it. And at the time, they had told me I only had 3 months to live. And so, you know, I didn't really have much choices of what I can do for myself. So I did try the cannabis, and when I tried it, I was just like, oh, wow, it's not what I thought it was going to be. And I saw how it helped me out with my stress, anxiety, my hunger. I wasn't really eating. So when I tried it, I was eating a lot. And then my recovery with my surgery and my radiation therapy with it. So ever since then, I've just been an advocate and just talking about, just try to take away the negative stigma
Good.
from
Thank
cannabis.
you.
Yeah, you know, I post on my Instagram me smoking cannabis and training at the same time. And then people are like, what? I didn't know you can do that. I'm like, yeah, you know, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just my story, you
Great.
know, that's my
Thank
journey.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll be asking questions of the panel after they've introduced themselves. Go ahead, Flo.
Everybody, Loretta Black here, but everybody calls me Lolo.
Louder.
I kind of live that Lolo because I'm a good Lolo. I'm not a crazy Lolo. But I'm cancer survivor here, 21 years, stage 1 uterus cancer. Full hysterectomy by the time I was 27. I was 4 months pregnant at the time. I gave birth to my child, and I instantly had a hysterectomy. But even with all that, I've been a cannabis smoker since I was 15. And so I've had a lot of dental problems because of smoking cigarettes and cannabis as well. So I have a lot of bridges in my mouth. My mouth is built in. So when it gets underneath the bridges, it really hurts me, and a lot of nerve damage in my gum line and on the jawline. So I'm always doing my own homeo with salve, coconut oil, THC, and rub it on. I do the hot rags, and I just try to do the education on the strains because I've been smoking for so long that I think my body kicking it out at a certain age. I think when I hit 50, cannabis didn't work for me the way I wanted it to work for me. So I had to detox for a little while and do some education and find out what strains would work for me. So it's like any other medicine. You know, you go to the doctor, they give you a medicine. If it don't work, they got to find something else for you. It's like cannabis for me. I'm 56. I'm going to be 56. So I noticed after I hit 55 that I really couldn't medicate the way I used to medicate. I had to find other ways, like maybe take a gummy or have some oil, some CBD oil. But, right now my healing journey, I'm not dependent on it where I'm just like, oh, I'm studying now. I have to go through all the strains. Even when people give me, I can smoke some, but because of my chronic sinusitis from the dental problems that I had, that's why I do the homeo, because of the chronic sinusitis, because my face hurts. And it's like, when you have plaque up in your face, that's what the sinusitis is. So.
Wow, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. We're going to come back to you. I'm going to get some more info.
Yeah, keep studying. Keep studying. Thank you.
Thanks. This is Michal. She's going to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michal Cohen. I'm a psychotherapist. I'm based here in Honolulu. And I'm just going to share a little bit about my perspective with regard to mental health. So when I'm talking about mental health, I'm really talking about our ability to enjoy life, to stay connected in our relationships, and to be able to meet the inevitable ups and downs of life that come with just being a human being. Mental health is about feeling safe within yourself. And like many people on this panel, my path into this work is also very personal. I've really navigated some mental health challenges in my life, specifically with ADHD and also with depression. And cannabis has been instrumental in my own healing journey. So when someone is struggling with mental health challenges, life becomes harder. It's hard to face the day when you haven't had much sleep. It's hard to be present and enjoy the moment when you're constantly worrying about what other people think or fearing for your safety. It's hard to focus on the task in front of you when your thoughts are scattered in every direction. And it's hard to get out of bed when you feel low and believe that there's nothing ahead to look forward to. So this is why when we have a tool such as cannabis that can help a person feel a little bit safer, help their mind be a little bit more at ease, help them get a better night's sleep, it's so important to break the stigma and let people know this might help you. I'm not here to say it will help everyone, but for some people it can be life-changing. And the stigma that we've all talked about has prevented so many people from even feeling safe enough to talk to a healthcare provider. And my hope is that, I lost my best friend to brain cancer a year ago. Her name is Rabia. And cannabis helped her have quality of life in her last months of life. She didn't have any side effects from chemo because she was using cannabis. And what saddens me the most, this is my last point, is that when we met with her neuro-oncologist at Sloan Kettering, a very famous cancer hospital in this country, we had to bring up cannabis. We had to bring it up. And I want every patient in this country facing a life-threatening disease or any ailment, because that's what makes cannabis such a miraculous plant. It can treat so many conditions. I want cannabis to be offered in mainstream medicine. And I'm really honored to be here, so thank you.
Thank you. Carrie?
Hello, my name is Carrie, and I am a survivor of a car accident in which I sustained a traumatic brain injury. I was hospitalized for 3.5 months, and I had to relearn how to walk. I was supposed to have my leg cut off, but thankfully I didn't. Relearn how to walk, talk, basic arithmetic. It was a challenge for me, and I was 14 years old at the time, and so there was a fear that I might not be able to go back to school in the same grade level I was, but thankfully I had a lot of support from my family. At the age of 16, I became a medical cannabis patient for pain management because I have a lot of nerve damage on the side of my body. My face was ripped off. I have plate in my arm, rod in my leg, screws in my hips. So when I was talking to my doctors about pain management, I was worried about the pharmaceuticals that they were telling me that they were going to prescribe me, because this was at the very beginning of the opiate epidemic, and I was watching my friends on the streets get addicted, become homeless, and it was a big fear for me. So I consistently asked about cannabis. I was like, well, what about, medical cannabis? I heard that it can do this and this, and as much as my doctors wanted to reject me on it, I turned to my mom and I was like, Mom, I know you used it for cancer. Can you please make an exception? And so at the time, she allowed me to become a medical cannabis patient, and I've been using tinctures and vaporizers and such that for so long that at the age of 25, I think it was like a 10-year mark in my journey of traumatic brain injury, I actually started having seizures. And my neurologist told me that if I had not had gotten my medical card when I got it, then my onset of seizures would have happened much earlier on in life.
Wow, thank you. That's quite the life cycle. I'm going to ask the panelists 2 questions. The first is, what changes in the cannabis industry, in the cannabis world, has benefited you? What is it? And I'll answer for me. I can talk to adults about using cannabis legally. There are still so many people, elders, who think that it's never going to be legal, they can't get it legally, they're going to get in trouble. And I encourage everyone that I know, every senior who wants to, who maybe tried it when they were younger, to get their card. Get their card and don't worry about the police behind you. Get the card, be legal, know your rights, and enjoy your health from cannabis. So to me, that's one of the biggest changes. I was one of the first people to get a card when they allowed it to happen. I've lived in Kauai, the island of Kauai, for 40 years. And I was one of the very first, and I've been growing since then. And I think having a medical card, I see it as something, one of the biggest changes. Want to start at that end and come through?
Okay. So one of the biggest changes, I think, in the medical industry that's really benefited me is allowing patients at my age to be able to get cards with certain elements such as PTSD, anxiety, seizures, etc. And being able to have medical professionals who are actually willing to have conversations with cannabis experts like my neurologist, being willing to have that conversation with me of medical cannabis to help manage my seizures and stuff like that, because the negative side effects from the medications I take to help with my seizures, it makes it so I can't eat, I'm nauseous, sometimes they make me really jittery. And so being able to have the cannabis brings me back down on a level in which I can function and work like a normal human being. I graduated with my bachelor's, and I don't think I would have been able to do that if I didn't have cannabis by my side helping me through that journey. So I think that's one of the biggest things for me.
Sure. Similar to what other people have shared, I would say the biggest benefit has been more willingness for other medical providers to see cannabis as a legitimate source of medicine. And I've had the experience when I was younger. I don't take any a stimulant right now for ADHD, but when I was younger, I would. And when I moved to Hawaii and I was finding a new psychiatrist, I would take a stimulant. And in New York, I was actually prescribed Marinol, which was a synthetic type of cannabis. And when I came out here and I'm establishing care with a new psychiatrist, the reaction he gave me when I told him that was, "Don't you ever expect that from me," And I never want another person to feel shame about something that helps them and something that's a plant that's been placed there. And so fast forward, a while back, I used to work with a doctor, Dr. Thomas Cook, who prescribes cannabis cards. So to come full circle, to actually be working with a doctor who supports cannabis after being shamed by a doctor, that's what I'm happy to see more of. Because so many people can't have an honest conversation with their medical providers when the provider has these uneducated beliefs about cannabis.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, so pertaining to your question, I used to work at one of the biggest co-ops on this island for about 5 years. And my job at the front was making sure people had their cards. I was a bud tender, but the front girl, she was the one that always made sure that if you didn't have your card, we're going to help you get your card. So I would have to go on the phone and go through the MMJ account and do this and do that. And I have met thousands of people that did not have their card and was participating. So I think the most important thing that I want to say here is get your card, because that is what's going to save your ass. Excuse my language. That's what's going to save you behind. Because if you don't have a card and you get caught smoking and you get caught partaking, you're going to jail. So I think getting your card and educating people on getting their cards and studying about what's going to work for you. Don't worry about anybody else, what's going to work for them, because you cannot help anybody else if you cannot help yourself. So keep your card on you at all times. Have a copy in your wallet, have a copy on your phone. If anybody remembers the medical cannabis program, when the medical cannabis program first opened up in Hawaii, the HPD was behind the medical cannabis program. And we'd have to send our registrations to HPD. And then they'd turn around and send us our cards. But the cards were not flimsy like they used to be. They used to be, the very first original cards is a credit card. It was plastic. It looks like a swipe card, credit card, debit card. So, yeah, that's how the cards came. And so I come from then. I come from back then because cancer survivor, I'm a mother of 4, grandmother of 3. I always wanted to make sure that my stuff is straight because I know the laws all too well. And so, that is my most thing, is educating the next one. And I think I'm in an older generation too. I was born in 1970, so we older people, we know the laws, we know the rules, we know what's going on in this world, but it's the younger generation nowadays that lived in homes that their parents just smoked, their parents just party. So they take that with them and they think that that's what they can do. If their parents didn't educate them about cannabis, then that's what they're gonna do. But not in my household. My household is educated from day one. And that's what we need to do. We need to educate the younger generation now that's up and coming in the world so we can show them the right way. That's how you do it. Thank you.
There is so much education. So I'm over at Wendy Gibson Viviani's booth. She has so many books to help educate people. This one in particular, Enhancing Your Endocannabinoid System. Once people start to read and understand and learn, much better for all of us. Hansel.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you too with your answer. With when I got diagnosed with cancer 17 years ago, the doctor recommended it to me, so it was a little bit easier for me to get the cannabis. But after that, I live in Los Angeles, so I seen the steps from it being illegal, and then you get your card, and now you don't even need a card anymore. Which hopefully Hawaii gets to. I think in the next 2 years, what I'm hearing, it's gonna happen. But yeah, I have to agree that it's just easier now for people. When I used to tell them before, they would be like, "Oh no, I don't want to go to no sketchy place and go get weed," and So now when I and I talk to cancer patients, they just go to a store and go get it. You don't have to go get there's no card anymore there. Even before getting a card for them was still like, "Oh, I don't want to go do all that process to go do it." So going fully legal, I've seen the benefits of cancer patients and even athletes. And shoot, I have doctors, lawyers now that I've talked to because of that. Going full legal, they've go get their medicine. So that's one of the biggest benefits I've seen so far.
Great,
yeah.
Thank you. And I just want to point out to everybody that where he's talking about no card needed is California.
Yes, California. Yeah, I said Los Angeles. Yeah, not here. No,
not here.
No.
We still need a card.
Yeah.
And a big thing that I get from people is, I was in the visitor industry, and how can we legally obtain cannabis? Right now, the only legal way for visitors to obtain it
is to have a medical card where they live, and then they can get something that transitions them to
Yeah,
Hawaii.
I just found that out the last trip I was here. I didn't know that. Yeah, so you have to have a rec card in Los Angeles.
Medical card.
Medical card, sorry. Medical
Yep.
card or wherever you are, and then bring it here. And
We did it. We do it every year just to safeguard ourselves and show people how easy it is. And honestly, it took 24 hours for both of us to get.
oh yeah, oh that's cool. Yeah.
Ashley did hers right after we got here, and it was.
Where you guys from?
The day the expo started.
Where you guys from?
You're safeguarded.
Yeah.
Where you guys from?
Oklahoma.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And there's med there.
Yes.
So yeah, and that's a real tricky thing, because lots of people who live in a state where it's completely legal and rec legal, they don't have a card,
No, we don't. Yeah.
and then they can't get a reciprocal card here in Hawaii
Yeah.
because they don't have the med card. But until we change, so we will. My next question for the panel. What do you think in the cannabis industry is the biggest impediment, the biggest block for you with consuming? And again, I'll start. I see one of the biggest blocks I focus on elder adults. Again, I'm 72, been using since I'm 16. I'm not a couch potato. I've owned a lot of businesses. I work nonstop. I'm still working at 72 part-time, happily working, social work, helping people. And I think the biggest block that I see is simply getting over the stigma. That's over and over what I see, is when people walk up to me in the grocery store and whisper it to me. Can I get some? Do you have anything? And I have to whisper back because legally I can't sell it to them. But I make a lot of edibles, and that's my choice. And so many people still have that stigma in their head that they should whisper about it. Hansel, what do you think is the biggest impediment?
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, honestly, yeah. So the stigma there, it's still there. It's still there. So what I do is, like I was telling you earlier before that, through my socials, I have a big social media following. So what I can do is take away that stigma, and I've turned so many people who are like, "Yo, I'm trying cannabis for the first time because I just seen you work out and smoke." Like, what? That's crazy. I didn't know you can do that. I thought you were like me. I thought you just a couch potato, lazy, unmotivated, not doing anything, eating all the time. Like, no. So I like to, post on my socials that you can consume cannabis and still do what you have to do. And then there's the recovery aspect too, where there's other people where, yo, I've tried this certain strain because you said that this strain is great for pain and recovery, so thank you for that. So yeah, the stigma, and what I can do right now is just post it on my socials and just spread the word and show people through my story and how I use cannabis that it's not what people think. So
Great.
yeah.
Thank you. So Lo, again, the question really is, what is the block? What do you think is the biggest block in the cannabis industry?
I think the biggest block in the cannabis industry is people not doing their research, people not studying, people not being honest, people thinking that they can do what they want to do just because other places can do. I think people really need to get educated. The stigma, I'm about that, because one day I believe in my heart that cannabis will not be I believe one day that we're going to be able to say, even in a doctor's office, "Oh, it's not helping you? You know what? Why don't you check out the dispo? Or do you have a farmer?" You just got to know. You got to know. You basically got to know. If not, you're clueless. And then you don't know, and then you'll go out anywhere to get that. And the education for me, where I come in, is I'm a farmer. And I don't only grow cannabis. I grow food. And I think for me is when we get with the crowd and we come to my house and we hang out and we talk about it, I think getting people's honesty and being honest. You got to create one system where people trust you, where people respect you. I mean, you can go into a cannabis community and talk it up. Let's go, boom, boom, boom. But what does that get you? All we had was a smoke sesh. You know, that's all you got. You got to be able to sit down on your table at home, and you get your farmers, your girls, whoever grows with you, and you sit down, you educate them. It starts in the home first. Cannot get outside if you didn't start it in your home first. So you got to educate your people first and foremost, get that stigma off them, and have them continue that when they're out there. So, yeah, it's a trust. I believe that.
Great, thank you, thank you. So what do you see as the biggest impediment for you as a therapist?
Two things I would say. Stigma, myths, and the fact that it's not legalized. So first I'll just say a note about legalization. I have a lot of clients who are federal employees. They would so benefit, and some of them are on psych meds that have pretty severe side effects. And I'm not for or against psych meds, but like cannabis can have lower side effects and can replace some of these medicines. And clients of mine that are federal employees, because they still cannot use cannabis. And I'm deeply influenced by the work of Dr. Carl Hart. He's at Columbia University, and he has a book, which is at Wendy's booth, Drug Use for Grown-Ups. And Dr. Hart asserts that to alter one's consciousness is a fundamental human right. So I strongly believe that to alter your state of mind is a human right. And when we have laws preventing people from making that choice for themselves, that's a huge impediment. And secondly, the stigma is still just so huge. A lot of times people that are working with me, they still may not be open to using cannabis because the war on drugs has been so effective with lies and misinformation. So I think, yes, there's huge improvements in reducing stigma, but we still have a long way to go.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have to agree right there. I think one of the biggest issues that we have is not just public opinion, but public policy. I think that policies created can unintentionally harm patients and caregivers alike if they are not made with conversations actively happening with patients and caregivers and legal and the law experts, the ones that write the laws, the legislatures. So having the back and forth conversations with the legislatures and the public and doctors and professional scientists, I think is the most important thing, because to accidentally create a law that unintentionally criminalizes caregivers that grow for patients is going to set us much further back in the world we want to live in, where medical cannabis can be accessed to all instead of just few. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. But yeah, I think that's the biggest issue that we have, is that there's only been few conversations had with legal experts and lawmakers and medical professionals about this, and it's being able to remove the stigma from the government's eyes about cannabis and what it does to somebody when we could be using it to heal each other and the world around us.
Great, thank you. So I think the biggest thing that I heard from everybody is the stigma. And we just need to get rid of that stigma, as well as change the law nationally. There's all sorts of studies for seniors, again, that's my focus, about CBD and dementia. And to me, working with people who are in assisted living, they're in Care homes, they are not, even if a card, they're not allowed to use cannabis in those, right, because it's federal, and so they can't use it in those nursing homes. And so we know it helps dementia, and then we're not allowed to let them have it. I personally have set up my life so that I have a second bedroom in my house, and my plan is to have my caregiver live at my house, because I don't want to be in memory care or assisted living where I can't consume my cannabis that I know is the part that has changed my life. I have a lot of depression since I was a small child. I remember I found a little piece that I had written when I was like in 3rd grade about having highs and lows, and would I give up the highs to get rid of the lows. And now at 72, I recognize that I have a depressive disorder. During COVID, I went through all these food lines. I lost my business completely. I had a number of businesses, all in the tourist area, so they were all dead. I went to all these food giveaways, and they would always say, do you need any other help? And I would say, yes, I need to talk to a therapist. I am depressed. I can't kick myself out of it. And they would say, in 6 months, someone can see you. And I said, well, I'll be dead in 6 months. At one point, I went home because I couldn't stop crying. I went home and I consumed 3, 4, 5 times the amount that I normally do in an evening. I make cookies. I ate a whole lot of cookies. I smoked. I ate a lot of butter. I make popcorn with my infused butter. All of those things. And I overdosed myself. In my mind, it was an overdose because it was way more than I would normally consume. And I slept for 3 days, which I hadn't slept. And I came out of it going, oh, that's right. Life is worth living. So it saddens me that people are in nursing homes and cannot use it because legally, federally, it's still not allowed. Thank you, everyone, for participating in this. If you have something else that you'd like to say at this point, share the mics and speak. Otherwise, I'll start to ask the audience if they have questions.
You know, we get one generation coming up. This is 2026, and this younger generation I'm watching closely, and it's hectic. It's hectic. I'm gonna just keep on educating as I go along the way. I educate my daughters. My grandchildren are still little, and I don't wanna be that person that didn't help if in the event my grandchildren decide one day they need to use cannabis. I want to be that person that they know that my grandma did everything she could to help this along the way in a positive way. I mean, we can scream and we can kick our feet all week long, but if you don't take the step out and do it, it'll never get done. So I think education in this young generation is the most important thing as well as the seniors. I took care of my mother, and I'm glad I never had to put my mother in a home. And I'm glad I was able to give my mother a few little puffs here and there to ease her time before she left me. I lost my mother and my brother in the same month, a few days apart. But my brother wasn't able to use cannabis. He lived in another state because he was bedridden and all this and that. But bringing out what cannabis is all about, the real deal. Get the books. Get cannabis books. Emperor Wears No Clothes. Get the books. And educate yourself and educate others, whoever you meet, wherever you go. Tell them the good stuff about cannabis. Let them figure out the rest, you know? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So grateful to be up here with you. I would just want to share a big part of this for me is about freedom. Really to be able to say, I know that this thing, whatever this thing is, and right now it's a plant called cannabis, this thing helps me. That's your fundamental right to have that freedom. And hearing about the nursing home situation, right, that breaks my heart because absolutely there's studies showing how cannabis can help dementia. And for people to not have access to that in this country that is we talk about freedom being a value, let's put it into action. People need to have freedom to be able to say, this works for me. And it's great that we have a medical program, but still some people don't even want to jump that hurdle, right? So I still think legalization, that's what I hope will happen, so people have the freedom to make choices.
The biggest thing for me is to ensure that people are having conversations with lawmakers about their experience with cannabis. We have, as somebody who works at the state legislature and has their medical card, I make it a big point to show that this doesn't impede with my work, because a lot of people are like, oh, well, you just get stoned on the weekends and you'll just show up to work stoned and you won't be able to work because you won't know what you're doing because you're just, asleep at the wheel, basically. And I'm like, no, that's not how it is for me. I've always used it therapeutically. I've always used it in a medical way. It's never impeded on my work. And so being able to go to lawmakers while they're collecting testimony on bills that might create laws that can harm patients and caregivers and tell them, like, hey, no, this is my experience with it. This is how I use it on a daily basis, and it doesn't affect me while I'm working or while I'm, driving or anything like that. It actually helps bring me back down to a level in which I can function as a human being, because my anxiety is just up here all the time when I really need it to be down here so I can function. So that's the biggest thing for me is if you're ever curious on laws that are being created, just look up your state legislature and see what cannabis laws are going in and maybe submit some testimony and say, hey, I have my own opinion on this. And it's the people's voices that make the laws that work. So
Thank you. Thank you. One of the things that Wendy does is she goes to legislature all the time and talks to them. Wendy is a cannabis nurse. There's a specialty within nursing now of being a cannabis nurse. So she has taken that. She does a lot of education of doctors, the medical profession, and people. So I think over and over, that education part, knowing what's gone. Hansel, do you have something else that you'd like to say?
Oh yeah, just at the end of the day, it's just educate yourself. That's what you have to do. Just educate yourself. For me, I was lucky enough, for a doctor to tell me that. So that my mouth dropped because it was a legitimate doctor, and he's like, you can just try some cannabis. I'm like, what? So for me, after that, did research, and I the doctor, yes, but I taught myself, and it starts at the home too. Talk to your people, and lawmakers too. That's the most important thing is educate yourself, because the research is out there too. It's right there, and then there's testimonies like ours right here too, and so YouTube now, and it's just so much easier now for you to educate yourself. And that's pretty much for me, like the biggest, just educate yourself, yeah.
Great, thank you. I'd like to open it up to any questions in the audience. Yes.
Are the dispensaries reliable resources for understanding what you need for what specific problems you have? Well, I'm a brand new card holder, very easy by the way here. And, but I remember back 55 years, I was thinking, when did I
I love it.
Can I ask her a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, what made you want to try it again?
My surgeon, I'm having surgery on March 2nd, have a knee replacement.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be a brutal surgery, and I can't take pain meds.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He said, I think you should really get a medical marijuana.
He told you that? He told you that? The surgeon told you that? Wow, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he said, and I thought, oh, great, that sounds great. What do I do? And he said, I can't sign off on it, but it's very easy to do.
Wow.
And I got it, and one day I went to a doctor who was an ophthalmologist, as it turns out, and he signed off on it on his computer. Wow.
Oh, fabulous.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. I want just hold that question for a second, because I do want to answer your question about whether you should be asking bud tenders, who some of them know a lot at the dispensaries, but they don't necessarily know it all. And so back to what everyone here has said, educate yourself. Read the books. Ask people who are in the field, who are educated about right. There are so many books there that's almost overwhelming what's on Wendy's. Right. But if you ask Wendy which book for your experience is the best, she will help you. Go ahead. Someone here had an answer.
I'll go first.
Put the mic right on.
So my answer real quick to you is, if you go to the Aloha Apothecary, they have a location on King Street. They actually, it's really cool because they have a list of the different trichomes and like the different chemicals within the buds and the different strains that they have that can tell you what will work better for pain, what will work better for mind clarity, what will work better for anxiety and stuff like that. I love the bud tenders at Aloha Apothecary because they know what they are doing and they know what they are talking about. So
great. And that's not true at every single dispensary. So you really need to know which dispensary and speaking to others, and then speaking to experts about it.
Yeah.
Right.
You're in the wrong dispensary if that bud tender
Yeah.
doesn't know how to help you.
Yeah, honestly, like there's some dispensaries, like even in LA, where some bud tenders just don't know that much info, So
You don't working there?
yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to share what each person just shared. Like, you can't trust every bud tender, but some are amazing. So I just wanted to share that piece. And I would want to share, I always recommend, I'm a co-host of a podcast called Living the Green, and my other co-host is a cannabis nurse. And she offers consultations to patients navigating any medical condition. And the nice thing about meeting with a cannabis nurse is that you can have a series of sessions, because it's usually not a just try this, it's a process, because all of our endocannabinoid systems are different. And so when you have an ongoing relationship with a medical professional that has expertise about the endocannabinoid system, that's another way to get that exquisite support that you're worthy of for what you're navigating, because it's so true that different strains affect people so differently. So again, to echo what everyone on this panel is saying, education is so important, and having a trusted healthcare professional along that journey can be really useful too.
Great, thank you so much. You had it. She had a second question.
Okay.
Let me just.
Say a journal, a cannabis journal to keep track
Yeah,
of what's good for you.
that helps a lot.
Keeps track of the terpenes, the strains that you don't like when you feel. A cannabis journal for you to keep track of is very beneficial.
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't.
No, that's good. That's very.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Thank you. I forgot my second one. I have a question for another, kind of a relate. All of the people here, you come in off the street to this expo, and I thought, what they're selling the stuff, but people aren't producing cards, and they're selling all of these goods, and I don't understand what
tell you what, honey. Some people don't follow directions. Some people just don't follow directions. Just remember that part. You know, I cannot answer that question for you. All I can tell you is when the info is put down on your table, and you know what that info says, and you don't follow it, then that means you need to learn how to read. So yes, you're at the right place though.
Yeah.
You're at the right place though. You're at the right place. You're right where you need to be. Yeah.
But you're right. There's a lot of product out there, and unless you spend the time, I mean, I am learning about psilocybin at this expo. I have learned vast amounts by standing, talking to these people, the people that are creating it, the people that are producing the psilocybin. So it's, again, it's all about education. Can they be selling all of those things? I'm not here as the police. Right. Yep. Right, and it's doing that educational part and understanding what it is. I mean, I produce infused butter, and I know how much of that butter I need every night in order to sleep. I make myself take breaks to see if I can get to sleep without it, and it's miserable. I need to consume that cannabis in order to sleep properly. Or a gummy with strong CBG. I now know, you know, these lovely little cute little gummies that are 2.5 grams, or milligrams. That doesn't do it for me. I need 10 minimum. Since I've been consuming for so long. I know we have a question here. Go ahead.
How are y'all today? Hi. Quick question. I'm not from here. How do I put it? I was Air Force for 21 years. I retired in 2016. That started my journey in cannabis. And now, and I have a specific question, but I've heard something that I want to give a little bit of my background prior to getting answers. I travel around. I teach at Hemp 101 seminar. I teach people the difference between hemp and marijuana. Yes. I own a CBD brand myself. I'm 5% owner of a medical grow in Oklahoma. I actually owned a cannabis testing laboratory that was registered with the DEA for handling controlled substances. So I know a little bit about the subject matter. My question was, I heard y'all say earlier that seniors can't have this stuff, and I'm wondering why they can't. What that was.
They can't have it in nursing homes. They can't have it in assisted living because it's federally not allowed. So a child who goes to a public school and needs cannabis for seizures can't use it in the public school because it's federal.
So we're talking marijuana and not hemp, because by the 2018 Farm Bill, hemp is no longer a Schedule I narcotic. It's legal for interstate commerce in all 50 states. So if they take things that are THC free, but have the extra CBGA, CBG, things like that, those cannabinoids can take the place of the THC. They don't have all the same properties as THC in the cannabinoid system, but some relief is better than no relief.
Absolutely.
I'm wondering why people are telling me, this is what pisses me off. Doesn't piss me off, it pisses me off. I don't understand why people aren't conveying this to seniors that you don't have to smoke weed if you need relief. Yes. Don't find
Right.
some tincture that you can't smoke because they can smell it.
Right.
Go take an edible that is THC free with some extra CBG. If you can't sleep, put some extra CBN in there.
Yeah.
Because that's a specific cannabinoid for sleep. So why not spread that message versus people can't have it? Like, teach them smarter ways of consuming it, but keep it legal at all times versus you can't have it.
Yep. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. And that is part of what I educate people about, that there are many different types. I mean, when I discovered CBG and CBGA, it made a world of difference to me, because even though I grow and I have plenty of product and I make it into all my different edibles, once I found CBG and CBGA, I could sleep so much better.
And for those that don't know, CBGA and CBG are precursors to THC. It's kind of like predominant in the plant in the early phases, but as the plant continues to grow, here comes THC, CBG.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. No, don't be sorry. That was wonderful. I see a question there, please.
You're a farmer, I guess most of get non but when I was on Maine, I had a liver transplant 5 years, 9 months or 1 day ago. Not that I'm Canada, I'm so happy to be alive. Yes. And and so I had one doctor say, maybe you ought to do cannabis, and also my psychologist, because he very free try it. But I went to the mainland in April, and I was in the D.C. area, and so I tried the Maryland, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. And Washington, D.C. was the only place that was reciprocate on my farm. But they also have medicinal cannabis that was more powerful, more stronger. Do you see that coming into play in the future, like for edibles? Because that's what over that past 5 years, I've tried to do with every methods to learn and educate myself as what was best, and it's primarily edibles. So
Yeah, so I've had other people ask me about like, oh well, do you think these strains are getting stronger with with them growing more and putting more science into it? And I definitely agree that yes, they are getting stronger, but it's also a matter of you understanding your body and knowing how much it is that you can consume or you should consume when it comes to your dosage. I use mine to regulate seizures and PTSD, anxiety, help balance my endocannabinoid system because my traumatic brain injury unbalances my hormones. And so I take extremely high doses of THC and CBD and stuff, but I also have to work with my bud tenders to understand the strength of the cannabis or the strain, the strength of the strain and what it's going to do to me in that sense of is it going to make me tired? Is it going to make me really active? What do I need at what time during the day? So
Great. Thank you. Anyone else?
I would just reiterate, similar to what she's saying, dosing is so important and it's specific to each person.
Right. I have so many people who say, oh, I love these. I tried it once and I couldn't stop running around. What did you take? What was the strain? What were the cannabinoids? What were the terpenes? And they don't know. The people who just used it once, that's the end. They don't know. So that's why back to what we've all been saying, educate, educate, educate. Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Go right up here. Hang on one second.
I've been a hairdresser for 40 years, and I've had a lot of addiction with pharmaceuticals to take people in my family. So I made it a mission to educate behind the chair. I think that it's really important for people on the side of cannabis, like me being in the spa world, because we have conversations with our clients every day of things that they don't want to talk about because of the stigmas. So I started doing like the hemp derived conversations. I do want to say one thing. There's a lot of people's grandmas that are taking 13 prescriptions a day that sometimes they forget if they took one, and that could be an overdose the next day.
Yeah.
For them not to be educating on all the cannabinoids and to give them options that are non-psychoactive, because we don't want people falling either if they don't know their dosage. That's a big thing that I try to do behind the chair. So maybe find some spa people, some salon stylists in the area, and reach out to them to give them some education.
That's a good idea.
They touch people in private levels,
Right.
to have conversations.
Yep. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, one more question.
I know this book is not here. If anybody wants a picture of this, I'll come around and let you snap it with your phone. This is written by a guy's name is Dr. Terrell Newton. He wrote a book on the endocannabinoid system. And in this book, he actually has conditions and dosing that he used to treat
Nice.
conditions.
Nice. That's excellent.
So if
And-
anybody wants a I will gladly come around.
Thanks. Of all the books Wendy has, she doesn't have that one? I mean, she has 2,300 books. I don't know, so many books. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. If there's an urgent question that you still haven't had answered, we're just about out of time. So I'm going to ask you to come to Wendy's booth and ask more questions there. Lolo has a booth. You can go and ask her if you'd like. But the rest of us, we're at Wendy's booth to educate.
Right by the entrance door.
Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Wonderful hour. Thank you.
We need 2 hours on this panel.
We need a whole podcast for real.
Right.